As Niger gradually severs relations with erstwhile colonial power France, it has discontinued all collaboration with the Organization of Francophone Nations, OIF. France has traditionally exploited the 88-member body as a tool to further its interests. The organization's declared goals are to advance education and development in Francophone countries, many of which were formerly French colonies, as well as to support democracy and peace. The coup leaders had already forced the OIF to halt much of its collaboration with Niger, but it did not halt its programs that directly benefited civilian populations and those contributing to the restoration of democracy. The government of Niger had called on the African people to decolonize their minds and promote their national languages in accordance with the ideas of the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism. In a statement released earlier this week, the government stated that it was still unsure of how long it would stay in office, and that the duration of the transition would be decided following an inclusive national conversation. It did not say when the dialogue would take place. Bear in mind that this is happening at a time when France ratifies the end of a model of counterterrorism in the Sahel, opening the way to an uncertain head-to-head between military regimes and jihadist groups. The last French troops deployed in Niger left on Friday, December 22nd, marking an end to more than a decade of French anti-jihadist operations in West Africa's Sahel region. Hundreds of U.S. military soldiers, as well as many Italian and German troops, remain in Niger following the French withdrawal. Following the July 26 coup, the newly installed generals in Niger asked that the approximately 1,500 soldiers and pilots stationed there leave. In response, France announced that it would withdraw its forces. This was the third time in less than 18 months that French troops were sent packing from a country in the Sahel. They were compelled to flee neighboring former colonies Burkina Faso earlier this year and Mali last year due to military takeovers in both nations. The Islamist insurgency that all three countries are fighting began in northern Mali in 2012 and eventually extended to Niger and Burkina Faso. However, since 2020, a series of coups in the area have caused ties with France, a former colonial power, to deteriorate precipitously, and there has been a shift toward closer ties with Russia. The French president, Emmanuel Macron, declared in September that all French troops would leave Niger by the end of the year, with the first group departing in October. The ruling military government made sure this happened. The majority of French soldiers in Niger were stationed at an airbase in the nation's capital, Niamey. Smaller squads were sent with Nigerian soldiers to the Mali and Burkina Faso borders, where there is a suspected presence of jihadist organizations affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group. The withdrawal is a difficult operation. Road convoys must travel up to 1,700 kilometers over occasionally treacherous desert routes to reach the French Center for Sahel Operations in neighboring Chad. After 10 days on the road, the first French road convoy of troops leaving from Niger arrived in N'Djamena, the capital of neighboring Chad, in October. The most delicate equipment could be flown out of Chad by French troops, but the majority of the equipment had to be transported by road and sea. Before being transported back to France by sea, some of the French containers containing equipment had to be driven from Chad to the port of Douala in Cameroon. Some analysts believe that the military's withdrawal will leave a vacuum in Niger. They claim that because Niger was thought to be the final Western ally in the region's 10-year battle against Islamist organizations, its withdrawal will worsen the situation for Niger and the broader Sahel. Some say that the withdrawal of foreign military missions is already affecting security in Niger, where the number of attacks has surged. The military government in Niger has formed a security alliance with the military governments in Mali and Burkina Faso to coordinate counterterrorism operations across the Sahel. However, much of the immediate impact of the departure of French troops would be felt in western Niger's Tillabéri region, which has been the hot spot for extremism in the country. Are you one of those who think the withdrawal of these troops is a bad idea? Also, how long do you think Niger will suspend its collaboration with the Organization of Francophone Nations? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the New Tourist channel. Turn on notifications too so you get notified whenever we upload videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video.